Time for sound design. In this video, I delve into the world of MIDI tools in Ableton Live, and I show you how you can make your drawn-in MIDI chords sound more organic. This is all done with the basic tools that come with Ableton Live, so no plugins needed. And let's start with a simple acoustic piano sound that comes with Ableton Live from the instrument rack. Create some chords, and then with 3 little tweaks, you can create something that feels more like you actually played it on a piano. In the second part of this video, I will go more wild and apply this to a drum break, but let's start first with the melodic part. So here in Ableton on the MIDI track, I loaded up the acoustic piano upright from the instrument rack, and it sounds like this. So a basic piano, and then in this MIDI clip in the key of D minor, I created 4 chords, an E minor 7, an A minor, and twice a D minor. So it's a 4-bar loop, 1 chord per bar. And as you can notice that all the notes are the same length, they have the same velocity, they start at the same time. So this sounds quite robotic. And the problem with this kind of MIDI loop is that you would never play it like this. You would never have the same velocity, the same length, start at the same time. So this is kind of blunt, and if you have a lot of tracks like this, a lot of MIDI tracks like this, your overall composition will sound not that great. But it is an easy fix, so let's get into that. So the first thing I do is I will copy the MIDI chords to a new track with the same sound. So the first thing I want to do is to do something about the start point of the notes. So now the notes all start at the same point, and you can of course manually move these notes around and in that way create something that feels more organic. But there's an easier way, and that's under transform. So you have here on the left the clip menu, launch, pitch and time, transform, generate. So if you open transform, there's a menu with all kinds of different options how to transform and how to edit your MIDI. So we go to strum. When you strum a guitar, you don't hit the strings at the same time. So this is a MIDI tool to basically do that as well. If you look around, if you see there's 3 parameters, there's a low, a high and a tension. And if you just select all your MIDI notes in the clip, or you do Command A, and then play around with these parameters, you see that the MIDI notes are moving. So if you do increase the high notes start later. If you go negative, they start earlier. And with the low, it's the same. Then it starts from the low note. And then you can also change the tension. So here it's basically if it's linear or like this kind of shape. So let's reset it, and let's increase the high. So the notes don't start at the same time, maybe 55. And this already feels much more natural and organic. Of course, you can also select one individual chord and say like this one is a bit different. I'm gonna lower it. And let's do that for this one as well, so that it doesn't sound the same. So this is the first thing to make your MIDI chords sound more organic, by changing the start point of the notes. But you still, as you can hear, the velocities are still the same. So it still sounds like you're hammering the keyboard. So we want to do something about that. If you look at here at the lower area, it says velocity. Of course, you can adjust manually all the velocities of the notes. But an easier way is just select all and do randomize. And let's listen to it. That's already better. If you don't like it, just randomize again until you have something that you like. So both strum and randomized velocity really help to make it more organic, but we can do more. And let's go back to transform and pick another item from the menu. And this time I want to experiment with chop. This chops up your MIDI notes, and in this way you can create interesting patterns that you otherwise might not have come up with. Here in the menu you see there's parts and there's gaps, and there's variation. So just let's select all the MIDI notes and just increase the parts. So now, as you can see, there are 8 parts, and then we can create gaps. So something like this. One thing you might notice is that now the velocities for each chopped part are the same, of course, and also the strum settings. So we want to go back, select all and randomize so that the volumes for each of the chops are different. Now it sounds like this. So that's better, but let's play around more with the parts. So maybe 5 parts and gaps at -1, so we get this kind of triplet. So now with 3 easy things, the strum, the chop, and the randomized velocity, we created something that's far more interesting than the initial chords that I drew in. So if we go back to that, let's hear the difference. So these were the initial chords. And now the result after tweaking the MIDI. And of course you can play around with these settings forever and come up with all kinds of crazy ideas. You can select one chord or select everything like I did now, and just keep tweaking this into something interesting. Eventually you want to maybe freeze it and convert it to audio, so you have something, you can commit to something and maybe export it as a loop. But it's a lot of fun to play around with these tools, and it's very powerful and very easy to get good results. So when I was playing around with this, with the piano sound, I was thinking, what if you apply this to a drum loop, a MIDI drum loop? Does it still work? Let's find out. I loaded up the standard 808 drum kit in Ableton, so let's put in some MIDI. Again, everything has the same velocities, same start point, or everything is like on the grid. Let's add a little bit of roar to kind of crush this a bit. And let's now first randomize the notes and then go to strum. And then go to chop. It's interesting to use the chop function on drum hits because you really kind of create all these double hits because you're chopping up the little sounds. So I think that sounds interesting. Let's randomize these again. Let's play a bit with the variation as well. So as you can hear, you can go very quickly, very wild with applying these MIDI tools to a drum break. And maybe this is not what you want for your main drums, but as a sort of percussion loop or as a kind of effect sound in a break or in an intro, this could be really interesting. This is definitely stuff you wouldn't otherwise program if you just do it manually. It's a very cool technique to create glitches. And of course, now I applied it to all the drum sounds in this break. Maybe you don't want to apply it to the kick, but more to the hi-hats and the snares and other kind of percussive elements, but it's definitely something that has potential. So let me know, what is your favorite MIDI tool in the transform section or in Ableton in general, and how do you use it? Let me know in the comments. As always, keep making music. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.